The Politics podcast is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JURY. Listen, you want to support the show, huh? You just go ahead on over to patreon.com/JURY. It's where we go ahead and you can kick in whatever you want. You know, it's 4 times a week. I get here in front of the mic, just me and you, having a good time. If you want to support it, then go ahead and do it. This is a great place that I derive my income from. So if you want to be a part of it, support the show, please go ahead and do it. I always love to hear from patrons. So if you got something on your mind, hit me up. That is patreon.com/JURY. And normally, we don't plug this right up top anymore, but if you go to bit.ly/VegasDebate, you will get the chance to buy our mini expansion based only on what's going to happen during the debate tonight. So all the quotes from Trump, from Hillary, that will be said tonight is going to be in this 12-card mini expansion. Again, here's the deal. We base how many of these we are going to order on how many we pre-sell today. So if you are interested in getting it, the only surefire way to make sure you are going to get it is to order it today. If not, you will order some afterward. They will be available, but just to give you a sense of history, the first one sold out in 5 days and the second one sold out in 6 days. So if you want to get it, you need to get it right now. So go ahead over there, bit.ly/VegasDebate. But enough talking about how we support the show. It's Onesie Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
Politics. Yes.
Politics in your face. Politics sprayed with maize. Oh, politics. Oh. Hey, everybody, it's me. My name is Justin Robert Young. I do the Politics podcast. And, man, I'm going to let you all know, I might look, for those of you just listening, I might just look, sorry, if you're listening, then understand that I am in a Pikachu onesie right now. So I might look adorable. Look at my rosy little cheeks. I might look adorable. I'm going to let you know I'm a little agitated. Right now, folks. I'm, had a rough morning, man. You know, I've been in this habit, waking up 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that's it. Just when the bitches in the living room who were getting it on leave, I wake up 6 in the morning. Go out for, eat a little breakfast, go out for a run, come back, begin to prepare for the day because I now have morning podcasts that I need to focus on. And also, I got stuff that I need to do, including, as I mentioned earlier, we're doing the Contender expansion today, so I got to get the mailing out. You know, this is a very critical thing when it comes to online e-commerce, is you want to send out, you're going to blast your mailing list, and you have to do it at a beneficial time. In general, especially if you're on the West Coast, you got to be very, very careful that you are getting out your mailing list around lunchtime on the East Coast. Because for those of you unfamiliar with the population density of America, 50% of the population of the entirety of America lives on the eastern seaboard. So, if you want to reach the most amount of people at the most opportune time, you plop it right there in their inbox while they are on lunch break. So that's the plan. I go out running. I want to come back. I want to get the email written. I want to get everything settled on the back end and then blast the email 9 o'clock Pacific time. Cool and the gang. Then once I'm done with that, because that'll have to be out by 9 o'clock, I'll sit down right here at in the Jury Moore Studios in Oakland, California, and I will prepare for this, which is going to be a well-listened to and regarded episode of Politics, because the final debate happens today. Okay, big morning. Everything's going according to plan. It's about 8:10. I'm like, you want to know what? Let me just get a cup of coffee in me. We'll rock and roll for the rest of the morning. Oh, crap, I realize. No coffee. I got to go get coffee. So let me run down to the corner shop, pick up some coffee, come back. It's at that point that I realize as I walk out my door that I've locked myself out. Now, in general, not the end of the world. We have a very on top of it superintendent here in the building. I got my buddy Brett the Amtrak of Roundsville, literally lives a block up the road. He's got a spare key. I can always get a spare key, but none of them respond immediately. And now we begin to run into crunch time. So I go to a coffee shop and I decide that I'm going to send out this entire email and settle everything on the back end for the contender with my phone. This is a nerve-wracking process, and it is only made worse by the fact that I am now chugging coffee, heightening not only my reflexes but also my anxiety as I begin thunderously thumb-typing into my iPhone 7 Plus to get this email out on time. I do. I get back. I begin preparing my notes, but I'm going to let you know that everything else that comes out of this episode is going to be from a fairly agitated Pikachu. Pika, I'm a little annoyed. And so, it is with that tone that I'm going to do my best. Oh, also, when it comes to the contender thing, a sale on our base deck, 50% off the entire day. So if you haven't bought our base deck or you want to get the base deck for a friend, now's the time to do it. Just go ahead and check out offer code Vegas. Offer code Vegas gets you 50% off the base deck. That's all the shilling I'm going to do. Let's get into this thing. Because you want to know what? I'm a little miffed. I was even a little miffed leading into this. Because I read an op-ed this morning in the Washington Post, which is now just on my ass like I missed rent to subscribe to their service because, you know, I've read so many of their articles this month. But I read this opinion piece from Elizabeth Warren. Let's go ahead and bring it up here right now. Here's the headline. Elizabeth Warren. Trump didn't invent the rigged election myth. Republicans did. She goes on to talk about, Republicans have been obstructionist and they've been, continuing this myth that Democrats bust people in and there's widespread voter fraud, yada, 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 yada. Now listen, there is certainly a lot of folks who believe that the Democrats, by way of their legacy of the political machines back in the day, namely, let's say, New York and Chicago, have been involved in voter fraud. Just go back to 1960. This is the idea that JFK became president because of voter fraud in Chicago, because they were raising the dead in Chicago. This, of course, has become a fairly glittery political theory because it is tied to the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra and the Momo Giancana crime family. Bleep, blop, bloop. It's a famous kind of theory. And it is something that Republicans have long held on to. But here's the problem, all right? Am I just, I might be, again, I am, if politics is a circus, I'm the rodeo clown dealing drugs in the parking lot. So I don't know if I'm somebody that people should pay attention to, okay? My qualifications involve former Magic blogger. That being said, did I just happen to invent in my head the entirety of the George W. Bush presidency? Where George W. Bush was alleged to have stolen the election in Florida? I mean, let me just drill down to what annoys me. Because believe you me, there have been plenty. I've gotten, I read my emails, man. I read my tweets. There are plenty of folks who listen to this podcast and they say, oh my God, what are you going to do? You're going to go in on Trump again. This is the problem. Even you, an independent source that has no ties to any kind of media entities, are just following the lockstep of the mainstream media and dumping on Trump. So you want to know what? I'm going to stay away from that today, and I'm just going to illustrate something that bothers me about a certain line of thought amongst my predominantly liberal friends. And that is the idea that Donald Trump has said repeatedly over the past week or so, maybe 2 weeks, that this is a rigged election and that the fix is in for Hillary Clinton is damaging to our democracy as a whole. That he is eroding the fabric of our very democracy. Now, before we go any further, let me say this. If Donald Trump, as I mentioned on Monday, begins his concession speech, and I'm going to put that in air quotes and italicize it, if he uses the phrase, in the coming days we will provide evidence, then I will then begin to say, you want to know what? This is not something that is normal. This is something that is worrisome for the larger picture. But as far as one candidate or one party claiming that the fix is in, or that things have not been played on a level playing field, I'm sorry. That is not new, and it is not unique to Republicans. In fact, the most recent party that I have watched do it were the Democrats, specifically with Ohio in 2004, and specifically with Florida in 2000. The idea that Jeb Bush or Katherine Harris, remember her, had an undue influence in the recount and therefore put George W. Bush in the White House, was not only prevalent, was not only accepted, but was repeated by politicians, by celebrities, and by political commentators. This was not something that seemed to erode the fabric of our democracy over the ensuing 8 years. In fact, George W. Bush was elected to a larger margin of victory in 2004. Unless that was stolen by the Diebold Company. I mentioned that on the episode yesterday. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is an article from the November 2005 issue of Mother Jones magazine. Was Ohio stolen? You might not like the answer. Did George W. Bush steal the 2004 election? Essential documents by blah, 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 blah. Yeah, fooled again. How the right stole the 2004 election and why they'll steal the next one unless we stop them. I mean, again, these were not so far outside the mainstream. Now, Jackie Hearn is in the chat room right now, and she was involved in the Florida recount. I'm not saying that there's not problems, right? But I guess here's my point. Here's my larger point. Voter fraud, or the shady elements of our political system, have always existed. We happen, and I think luckily, to live in a fairly decentralized voting structure. It's a reason why we have the Electoral College. It's a reason why we have so diffuse, or we have very, very diffuse ways that we count our votes. There is no central repository that certifies our votes. This is beneficial because even the most you can do to tilt an election, a national election, is to influence key counties, key voting districts. And yes, people will always try to do it. So if you want to bring me these Veritas videos about Democratic operatives talking about how they've bussed people from different states to vote again. Yeah, I buy it. I absolutely buy it. If you want to tell me that that there are problems and issues, I got to take off this thing because unfortunately too many people are buying my card game. If you want to tell me about like problems and issues with this situation, I am all ears. Here's what I don't want to hear, though. I don't want to hear that one side or another is worse at it. Because whether or not you split this baby down the middle and find out that one is more culpable than the other one at any given time, the fact that the two major parties are going to do whatever they can to win, to me, is a non-issue. Now, wide-scale voter fraud, if we can prove it, then let's talk about it, okay? But otherwise, like, this thing just totally drove me up a wall. Totally drove me up a wall. And also this idea that we are, that everybody just needs to clutch their pearls. Listen, what Donald Trump is saying, all right, I said I wasn't going to be mean to Trump. I'm just going to be this little bit mean to Trump. The rigged election thing is stupid. It's a dumb thing to talk about. Because ultimately, it does not drive more people into a voting booth to hit your button. Like, it's just a non-starter of an argument. It was a non-starter of an argument when people were talking about how George W. Bush was an illegitimate president. It was a non-starter of an argument when we talk about the Diebold voting machines in Ohio, tilted it against Kerry. Like, this is just not, it's just a non-starter. Like, do people try to do it? Yes. Are they successful sometimes? Yes. Is our system, by its nature, something that defends against it? Yes. So let's just leave it there. There was something that I thought, Barack Obama said yesterday that I, despite the fact that he is just in this, very, very he's in a campaign mode. I think he likes to campaign as much as he says he doesn't. He likes to needle his opponents. But I think he made a very, very good point yesterday that Donald Trump should not be talking about who's rigging the election. He should be talking to his constituency about the issues that will motivate them to vote. He should be talking to independents about issues that will motivate them to vote. And I think that that is certainly the case. But I'm sorry. This idea that Republicans have invented the idea that elections are rigged is just out of the pale of comparison to me. I mean, like, it is just beyond ridiculous. And I'm wearing a Pikachu onesie. I almost just passed out. Here. All right. And Jackie Hearn, please email me. I asked you the last time when you brought up the Florida ballot stuff. Email me. Let me know. All right. Let's move on to something else that annoys me. There are now double-digit women who have accused Donald Trump of sexual assault. When Donald Trump, before the last debate, brought out the Avengers of past Clinton sexual impropriety before the last debate, I said it was a bad idea. I thought it was dumb. Simply because I think if you are going to prosecute the Clinton machine, which somebody else will do in 4 years, most likely, if the polls hold or the polls are accurate, the way to do it is not just to bring it up all at once. What you want to do is lay out a systematic case that demonstrates that Bill and Hillary Clinton are two things. Number one, a team and always have been. And number two, that they are ruthlessly politically barbaric. And that they don't care what's happening. They will say what they need to say. They will weasel out what they need to weasel out, and they will throw whoever they need to under the bus. All right. The other problem with bringing out all those women and talking about, hey, why doesn't Bill or Hillary Clinton talk to these women? Why don't they believe these women? Look at all these women who are damaged by their gigantic political machine. Is that now you have completely invalidated the argument that all these accusers are lying. So you can't come out on Sunday and say, please believe these women. You are a callous person, Hillary Clinton, if you do not believe these women. And then put Melania Trump out on CNN with Anderson Cooper and say, oh, well, I don't know why all these women are showing up just a month before the election. I think we should question whether or not they're telling the truth. It's just bad optics. But here's something that just grinds my gears. Again, we're going to focus on the liberal side of this right now. I'm sorry to the Hill Dogs listening. But this idea that as repugnant and awful as sexual assault and rape are, and let me not minimize that, it is a pervasive problem in our culture, and we need to be better about it. Full stop. Like, I've said on this program, I've said on the jury program, you want to educate yourself on the kind of stuff that women keep to themselves, then find your best friend that's a female, your mom, your sister, and in a conversation that is conducive to honesty, ask them about the creepiest thing that a guy has done to them randomly. Just someone that they didn't know, someone that they might have known, just something random that happened to them. Because I started doing that about maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and the stuff that I heard was hair-raising. And grosser than that was the almost assured fact that they weren't telling me the weirdest. That they were telling me the like, yeah, I feel comfortable talking about this. That there was likely more stuff under the surface. Just really gives you the willies. So let's just understand that fact as we now delve into the political ramifications of throwing around accusations of sexual assault and rape. Okay? Let's just talk about what happens politically. Because what I'm seeing a lot from the liberal side of this argument is, again, a lot of pearl clutching about, oh my God, how can the majority of Republicans continue to support Donald Trump when there is this parade of women coming out accusing him of such horrifying crimes? Now, again, I'm not saying the crimes aren't horrifying. They are. But listen, did I miss the 90s? I mean, was this not the entire side of the 90s? That, sure, Bill Clinton might be at least a creep. He might be at least a predatory boss who would take advantage of somebody under him, like Monica Lewinsky, to get off his cheap thrills for for his own jollies. And sure, he'll lie about it. But you want to know what? For the greater good, for the economy, for abortion rights, we will look the other way. People forget that MoveOn.org was started because of the Monica Lewinsky stuff. Move on. We don't need to dwell on this. We just need to move on. We have more important things. There is a moral sliding scale. We will compromise our personal morals in a way that we wouldn't do for somebody if they were just my coworker. But this is a friendly political person in power. And therefore, you want to know what? There's more to them than just these accusations, no matter how much I personally find them either A, disgusting, B, immoral, or C, maybe even illegal. There's more to this person. There's more to Bill Clinton. So then really what's different with all these Trump supporters right now? Let me ask you that. Like, what is honestly different? These people are very, very much in support of things that Donald Trump is for. They believe that he is and I'll tell you what, for the first time in a while, Donald Trump has been using the kind of slogan and messaging that he should have been using since the convention. Would have been a lot better for Donald Trump right now if during the convention, instead of chanting lock her up, they were chanting drain the swamp. We need to hit a reset button. We need to change politics fundamentally. Donald Trump is a brick through the windshield of politics as usual. I don't think that's really even debatable because I don't know if y'all have noticed, this is not politics as usual. So, what's different? Why can't these people have the same moral relativity that Democrats had in the 90s? Like, just let me know what the difference is. Because these things were around when Bill Clinton was also running. The internet wasn't. But these kinds of scandals were around. The state trooper running Bill's hose up and down Arkansas, that was around. Jennifer Flowers, that was around. I mean, these were rumors, and yet there was a moral relativity. And I just don't get it. Like, and this is why I find whenever we fold in sexual assault or rape into politics, it doesn't do anybody any favors. It doesn't make the political discourse any richer, and it certainly does not help what I find to be a very important conversation about rape and sexual assault. It's an intensely important thing. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't be brought up. If it's there, let's deal with it. But I think we can all agree that it's less than ideal. I think we can all agree that it is something that tends to stunt conversation. I think we can all agree that it's something that in a perfect world, we would like to kind of separate our peas and our mashed potatoes a little bit. Huh, man. I'm fired up here today, folks. I don't know what it is. It just... Let me also just say this, because I also get a lot. I get a lot from the Trump supporters. Why are you? Again, you have ain't nobody paying me but you folks. I mean, hell, I even tried to get paid for BitTorrent, a company mostly known for pirating. And that fell apart. So literally, you and me, folks, you and me, like it is us against the world. You are the only people who are paying me. I have no connection to any kind of media power structure. And yet I get from the Trump folks, why are you ignoring WikiLeaks? Why are you ignoring the Podesta emails? Why are you ignoring Donna Brazile telling the Hillary Clinton campaign what a question was before a debate? Well, number one, because a lot of the stuff that came out about, how rigged the Democrat, and rigg's a bad word, how much of an advantage Hillary Clinton had in the Democratic primary, I spent the entire Democratic primary talking about. For those of you who are just new to this podcast, I was the one saying, listen, if you are a Bernie supporter, you should be pissed off because you never had a chance. You don't have a chance when you have so many superdelegates pledged for Hillary Clinton before anybody even knows who Bernie Sanders' Muppet face is. And a lot of these emails have gone a far way to show that, right? And that's fine. And I believe these should be a bigger story. I believe all of these emails should be a bigger story. Now, I don't think that they are necessarily world-changing. I don't think that they are necessarily anything that would disqualify Hillary Clinton in the eyes of liberal voters, but I do think that it would hurt her when it came to independence. One more criticism of Donald Trump. It's hard to let anybody talk about these emails when you're spending the majority of your own time. This isn't about the girls. This isn't about anything else that's happening with the media. If you spend your time addressing each and every one of them and litigating them publicly, then you can't say that the media is running this narrative. You are. You are bashing yourself in the nuts every time that you make a point to say, this girl that said I groped her, she wouldn't be my first choice. She's not very attractive. You are feeding in to the noise machine. You are letting Hillary Clinton off the hook. More on that later. I don't want to do that speech now. But he is. Moving back to Hillary Clinton. In any other election, this would be a huge deal. In any other election, a WikiLeaks launch like this, it would have put Ted Cruz in office. I believe that. It would have put almost any Republican nominee in office. Because any Republican nominee would be doing what Hillary's doing right now, which is crawling into bed with a pint of ice cream and waiting for this to all play out. Right now, Hillary Clinton is at the Winchester waiting for this to all blow over. And that is exactly what a Republican nominee for president should be doing right now. A Republican nominee for president should be letting all of this, letting all that WikiLeaks stuff be the main story. And they should be saying, I will fix it. I will be able to keep this corrupt person out of office. All right. There's also a debate tonight. There's also a debate because these things have been absolute freak shows. Let's take a look back at the first two debates. Number one, you have Donald Trump come out in a way that even those who believed that he would be unprepared were unprepared for. He was just a mess. He had a strong start, sticking to his key points, and then completely fell into a trap. He took every piece of bait that Hillary Clinton left and really just embarrassed himself. It was the beginning of what now looks quaint when called the worst week in presidential campaign history. The second debate comes after Donald Trump's pussy tape. Donald Trump is fired up, ready to go. He's a little aggressive. He's still very sniffly. And he makes charges like, because you'd be in jail, which fire up his base, but continue to, lead a media narrative that he is this strongman dictator person. So what do we get now? Well, traditionally, the third debates are kind of the most boring. I believe, if tradition serves, maybe somebody in the chat room can help me out here. Normally, the third debate is seated. You have one debate at the lectern, you have one debate in town hall format, and then the third debate are seated in the way that the vice presidential debate is. If somebody can find that for me. So in general, it tends to be a little bit more sedate. I think there's even just, physiologically a little less blood pumping. But in this one, man, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Both candidates have tended to talk over the questions. There really has not been a whole lot of moderator-driven, moderator-driven control over stuff. Shiftlock says usually the two candidates are seated during the third presidential debates, but Clinton and Trump have opted to stand at podiums. Okay, so they'll be standing again. It's in Las Vegas. I don't know. I mean, if we are going to extrapolate any trend from the previous two debates, it will be that this debate will be more about the moment than it will be about the issues. I suspect that Hillary Clinton will do what she has done in the previous two debates and try to bait Donald into saying something ridiculous. If Hillary Clinton has another Alicia Machado up her sleeve, then this is when she will drop it. The moderator is Chris Wallace, notorious. He will. I think he'll do a good job. I really like Chris Wallace. I think he is a fairly universally understood to be excellent, analyst and pundit. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna focus on a lot of this stuff. Like Trump's gonna bring Barack Obama's half brother from Kenya to the debate, which will just be a devastating blow to Barack Obama's candidacy for a third term as president, I guess. I mean, I don't know. What can we say? What can we say? Donald Trump needs the debate of his life. He needs Hillary Clinton to melt down. Like, both of those things have to happen. He needs Hillary Clinton to turn to the camera, hiss like a cat, and say, like, yes, and I would have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for you meddling kids. Meh. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. If there is anything that I would kind of guess might happen, maybe we get a Donald Trump continuing to go after his own party. Maybe that happens. Donald Trump has recently started to push the idea of term limits. I mean, here's what would happen if they were smart. If Donald Trump was smart, the best version of this debate for him, in my humble opinion, is that he continues to press drain the swamp. And that he points to WikiLeaks. He points to all the emails that America, do you want another 4 years of Clinton scandals? And by the way, let's understand that these are not unique incidents. This has been a part of American politics for as long as many of us have been alive, and wouldn't you love to hit the restart button? Wouldn't you love to just say, let's start over? Because I am that reset button. And sure, I've said things that a lot of people don't agree with. And let's get all hoobastank like he did in his first apology. I'm not a perfect person. There's many things I wish I didn't do. Like, let's put that out on Front Street, but say, understand this. When I say that only I can fix it, I don't mean that I'm a magical shaman that can wave a wand. I mean that I'm outside the system. And only somebody who's outside the system can truly see the flaws within it. And I know the flaws within it because in a past life, I've taken advantage of them. I've paid politicians. I paid Hillary Clinton to come to my wedding. Check out the picture at bit.ly. Look at this lady. And maybe he'll do that. Maybe. But maybe he won't. As for Clinton, I think she should no-show. I think that she should just go see Zoomanity. She should just say, you want to know what? I was thinking about it, but also I'd kind of like to see the Beatles' Love. I'd kind of like to see Penn and Teller. I think that's what Hillary Clinton should do. She should just no-show. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get to emails. You can go ahead and send these in at theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and start off with our tortured metaphor for the episode. Russ writes, during the episodes, the events of the Deathly Hallows, the Daily Prophet, who is normally the paper of record, begins an insane smear campaign of propaganda and consistently hides the truth at the behest of Lord Voldemort and the Death Eaters. In this scenario, the Daily Prophet is the mainstream media who offers little to no coverage of the Podesta emails or the Veritas videos. When they do, they completely downplay the situation and push blame elsewhere. Voldemort and the Death Eaters are Hillary Clinton and the Clinton campaign, who have shown in the Podesta emails to consistently collude with the media to write puff pieces. The Quibbler is run by a nut job who normally makes up wild conspiracy theories. However, during the events of the Deathly Hallows, begins focusing their coverage exclusively on exposing the truth and becomes the de facto paper of record due to their lack of reporting on crazy nonsense, and focusing almost solely on exposing the massive conspiracy in order to help Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix take down Voldemort. The Quibbler is Alex Jones, who's normally a total nut job, but in this case is often covering uncomfortable truths that the Clinton campaign and the mainstream media won't. That makes Donald Trump Harry Potter and the Trump campaign the Order of the Phoenix. You're a wizard, Donnie. Well, that's certainly a tortured metaphor. Thank you to Russ. Of course, we love our tortured metaphors. Send those in. Make sure you headline them tortured metaphor. Tom writes, puff, puff, pass for the Johnson crew. I wanted to chime in and say that while a reduction of frequency would be okay after the election, because please, for the love of God, let's hope politics calms down a bit after this election, I would certainly miss it if politics went away entirely. I fully realize that there's more to it than that, and a brother's got to get paid and such, but I wanted to chime in that I like the show. I don't know whether or not I'm going to keep doing the show. We're going to see. We're just going to see. Joe Pilot writes, we aren't as forgiving anymore with the occasional mispronounced word or using a word incorrectly in politics. And I wonder if the electorate is fatigued with Donald or still fatigued with George W. Bush. Maybe Donald couldn't win, but his genuine asshatedness should play a little better than it is now. What do you think? Was it all just too much with Donnie? Republicans say they'll vote for Donorific even though they hate his BS. I assume they know he's lost, so they'll vote for him just so Hill doesn't walk into office with her first 100 days and say, I got 75% of the popular vote. Bow down and buckle up, you hoo-has. His floor is artificial then. That seems to indicate that Americans do kind of vote as a voting bloc. So is it possible that Americans are conscientiously voting for split ticket for national elections to keep both sides in check? Or is it all reactionary BS from voters who are trying to divine more substance than is real? I'm asking now because you kind of sound like you're ending this on November 8th, and we need at least one postmortem on November 9th or the 10th. So listen, I think that there's just fundamental differences in the parties. As much as we like to be very, very cavalier in our aristocratic smoking lounges and say, well, really, the bodies aren't all that different. In the minds of the majority of the electorate, indeed they are. And there are key wedge issues that people just will not cross the line for. So, yeah, I think that it's kind of impossible for Donald Trump to get lower than 35% if he was an absolute dumpster fire. Whatever level of dumpster fire you believe him to be, I think if he was the max of that, he would probably still bottom out at 35% because some people just don't want to vote for Hillary Clinton at all. Fill-in Democratic candidate. They don't want to vote for him. They can't deal with him. Chris writes, Bernie bro turned hill dog. Love the show. Listen, watch whenever I can. It looks like it may be academic at this point, but here goes. Trump is unchained now. He can't be chained. I added that editorially. And he has gone on the rampage against the Republican Party after many, 25%-ish, have abandoned him. If he is elected, isn't he shooting himself in the foot as far as being effective in the presidency? He will be fighting the Dems, and now 25% of the Republicans. I'm baffled by everything about the Trump campaign. I hear over and over and over from the Trump train that he will change everything, but it seems like he's hell-bent on making himself a lame duck from the start. Just a thought. I mean, sooner try to jump over the moon, man. Sooner try to jump over the moon than figure out what's going on in that campaign. And listen, maybe they're playing 5D chess and I just can't pick up on it, but you got me, man. You got me. Ken writes, I think that this election outcome at this point is just about as one-sided as the Junkyard Dog versus the Brooklyn Brawler. Yeah, dog. Anyway, I mean, maybe Barry Horowitz, or is that more of an alt-right comparison? Anyway, who do you think couldn't win against Trump at this point? You think Ted Kennedy would have a shot? What about an apologetic Richard Nixon? Also, he'd probably be a hard get, but my brain would explode if you booked Dan Carlin to talk about it. He basically got the same stance as Brushwood, except he's Dan Carlin. Barring that, you could get John Dvorak, provided you record before his bedtime. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely want to get... I got a few people that I just got to nail down, but hopefully we'll start doing those interview podcasts next week. Diego writes, toot toot. Keep in mind that Trump has been in a business world selling and written the art of the deal. Sales and persuasion is all about selling a story and an idea while creating trust by selling yourself. We all have an idea of who Trump is personally while having the idea that Hillary is a liar. I think Trump will win bigly. Why, you may ask, as he drops in the polls only to make a crazy comeback. I'm going to add editor's note, crazy comeback, yet to be seen, but let's follow along. Because Teflon Don skates away from every stupid scandal. And that I hate because I actually care about policies and issues. Unscathed, seemingly by magic in all these situations that would kill anyone else politically. This can't possibly be an accident with this much consistency. He's effectively sold the public on who he is as a person and sold the idea that the entire establishment is against him. In a season where everyone hates the establishment and wants change, placing himself as the competent outsider underdog, and America loves an underdog and is seen as a force of change. I think Bernie effectively killed enough Hillary support to create an in for Trump, especially with the WikiLeaks confirmation and that shy Trump supporter effect. Now, the rational reasons I support Trump is immigration. It's very important because the Democrats don't care about anything except political power, and they will lie and import reliable Dem voters to destroy the country in the process. Remember that Rome handed out citizenship right before it fell. They are importing these minorities to primarily red states. Thank you very, very much for your email, Diego. And, the one thing I will say is I don't think that he is Teflon Don now. I think that if there is a great fault to Donald Trump, it is that he could have benefited from shutting his yap and letting those WikiLeaks and Podesta emails take more and more of the front pages instead of allowing himself to be complicit in, this narrative about him being a sexual assaulter. Is that a word? Sexual assaulter? Assaulter and pepper? Anyway. Okay, guys, one more reminder about the Contender. It is at bit.ly/Vegas debate. Bit.ly/Vegas debate is where you can get the Battle for Las Vegas expansion. It is going to be 12 cards, 11 argument cards, and 1 topic card based solely on the debate that will happen tonight. If you want to watch me put this together, you can do so by tuning into diamondclub.tv. I'll be live here watching the debate and writing up the best quotes that I feel. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead. Otherwise, follow at Contender Game or facebook.com/thecontendergame for more information. If you would like 50% off our base deck, or you know somebody who might like 50% off our base deck, then go ahead and use the offer code VEGAS at checkout. That is how you can get that in your life. If you want to email me, it is theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, you can buy The Contender at thecontender.us. Music has been provided by Valesco and Trop Killers. And you can follow me at Justin R. Young everywhere. Download archived episodes of this show at bonerwars.com.
Politics, 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 politics.
I'll be live about a half hour before the debates. Remember, some shows talk about politics. Others talk about politics. Is the only show that talks about politics. We will see you on Friday.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.